A record-breaking 100 from Colin Ingram sent Sussex to an 18-run NatWest T20 Blast defeat to Glamorgan in Arundel in spite of a brilliant ton from Luke Wright. Put in, Glamorgan was soon in trouble as Aaron Donald went across his stumps to be LBW to Danny Briggs at the start of the third over. And the total read 7 for 2 midway through the fourth when David Lloyd played on to Jofra Archer, both openers out for 3. Only 24 runs came from the 6 overs of power play, with Ingram just showing signs of getting into his groove. Chris Nash came on to deliver the 7th over, and Ingram immediately went on the attack with the first of his 7 sixes. His second followed in the next over when he clubbed a decent enough delivery over mid-wicket. Halfway done, the total read just 64 for 2, but then Jacques Rudolph joined in, the hitting by going after Briggs, whose third over cost 18 runs. Ingram raced to his 50 off just 25 balls, 2 more maximums off Will Beer, seeing the Welshman to 3 figures after 12, 36 runs having been smashed off the last 2. A good surface, a good crowd and some short boundaries were proving helpful to the batsman, Rudolph the next to clear the rope. These 2 South Africans threw the bat in adding 130 for the third wicket in a dozen overs, Ingram now into the 70s. Rudolph fell for 49, a top edge off Chris Jordan being helped by Ben Brown, a wicket very much needed for the Sharks. But all it did was lead to Ingram pressing on yet more. The 17th over delivered by Beer cost 20 runs, with Ingram going big again 3 more times as he closed in on the fastest ever 100 for Glamorgan in this format of the game. It was at times brutal. Chris Cook then took 19 more runs off the 18th before in the last over, Ingram took the single to get to 3 figures off only 46 balls, from which it hit 8 fours and 7 sixes. There were yet more runs to come too. Cook smashing 37 off 17 as Glamorgan made it to 198 for 3 from their 20 overs, 60 coming off the final 4. So an explosive start to the reply was required, and Wright produced just that with a maximum in the first over. But he lost Nash at the other end in the third as he was bowled by Michael Hogan, who then had Van Zyl leg before with his very next delivery to leave the Sharks on 22 for 2. Still, in spite of those losses, the hitting continued as both Wright and skipper Ross Taylor both cleared the rope as Sussex made it to 51 for 2 from the power play to set the platform for the remaining overs. And with Wright in superb touch, the large target didn't appear to be too daunting. But who else but Ingram slowed things up by having Taylor top edging to depart for 17 with a total on 69 for 3 midway through the 8th. Wright continued to press on with 117 needed off the second 10 overs. But no one could stay with him. Brown the next to fall for 14 as he gave the unstoppable Ingram his second success with the ball. Wright reached his 50 off 32 balls and then struck his next 2 into the distance to bring the target down to 70 off the final 5 overs. A big ask even with the opener going so well. He added his 7th 6 before losing Laurie Evans at the other end for 14. The score on 151 for 5, 48 needed from 18 balls now. It was all down to Wright, who was brilliant in reaching his 7th T20 century, this one occupying only 52 balls, from which he'd struck 5 fours and 7 sixes. But alas, next ball he was out for 101, and that simply left too much for the others to do from the remaining 7 deliveries. Sussex ended on 180 for 6, a great effort, but a loss by 18 runs. They're next in action at Hove on Wednesday against Hampshire with a 6:30 start.